Morning, folks. Still using the SMG unscented soap. This one here, I don't think I ever mentioned it. Maybe I need to. I don't remember for sure. SMG is Shave Master General. That's what that stands for. Anyhow, this unscented soap here, still got just a little bit left in the tub there. Going to follow the shave up this morning with a aftershave called Booster Oriental Spice. Yeah, and this is 14 ounces. There we go. It's a pretty good sized container there. Already put a hot towel to the face this morning and using Presso as a pre-shave. Got the usual suspects over here with the Crown King Alum Block complete with rubber band this morning. And Humphreys Witch Hazel, and this one here is citrus scented. Day's hump day. Kind of feel like it this morning. Got the lather whipped up here in my thrift store find. Anyhow, there we go, tongue-tied this morning with a Frank shaving brush. It's got a synthetic knot. It's not exactly drippy, but it's fairly moist on the wet side. The blade that I'm using this morning is made in Turkey. I think it's called Lamix, and it is a platinum blade, and I have it here in a Parker SRW. That's what the blade exposure looks like there. And the nice thing about this particular setup here on the scales is that that's the bottom of it right there. So when you close it, there's nothing you have to be concerned about the blade trying to come out through the bottom or anything like that. And there's not a pivot pin. The pivot pin's up here, but I mean there's no pin down here. It's all formed right in there. Pretty nice set of scales, nice and sturdy. With the SRB, the bottom is open, not that the blade extends through there, but they do have a tendency to kind of flex. And it seems like to me that this set of scales here is a lot better made, in my opinion. I like it. It's pretty nice. I have a link down below for the for this particular shaver. I got it at a Grimatorium. It was on sale, and I think it's still in stock. Anyhow, for about $10. It's right around the $10 mark. And in case you're interested in picking up one of those more or less on the cheap. And the blades, I got a link down below. I picked these up at Razor Blade Club. Had that particular set for a while. Decided I'd give them a try in a shavette. I know that might be kind of, in other words, might be better off trying them in a DE shaver instead of a shavette. But I think these blades are pretty decent with a shavette, at least with what I'm using right now. The got some more links down below to help put a little bit more of a story to the to how I got started with this particular soap. Matter of fact, yeah, it's still wet. It's dripping everywhere. Link I got down below. I got two of them. We'll start with one of them. Steve Walker. He's needing more subscribers. And what I mean by that is that he likes to do his shaves live. And but he, if you're been on YouTube, you have a general understanding that it takes a certain number of subscribers, in other words 1,000, in order to be able to do a YouTube live video, and that's what he likes to do. But he doesn't have 1,000 subscribers, and he's been making videos for a while, and then he stopped for a moment. Now he's back to doing them again. Reason why he stopped doing it is when he used to do them live, and then they raised the criteria on what it took to do a live video, and that did drive off a few folks from doing any more videos. But at any rate, might want to go check his channel out. And I've got a link down below. if you go back far enough in videos and whatnot, him and Stephen Jam and G.I. James, I followed him for a while, and thought it was pretty cool. Back then it was, I'm trying to sneeze, hang on a second. Don't know if it's going to go away. It was at a meetup for the Dirty South shavers, and both of them were shaving at the same time. And for me back then, you know, that was a pretty cool thing. I mean, now it's a bit more common, but at that point in time, that was a pretty neat thing to take place. But anyway, go check out his channel. Oh, and if you catch his latest video, he talks about rum. And so in other words, it's just not always just wet shaving. And it's a pretty cool looking bottle. At any rate, Steve Walker, got a link down below. I also got the link down to John Romanoff's video, the one that where he talks about this particular soap here, as well as just any particular soap that is unscented. And I'm still trying to sneeze, mercy. Guess you might say the seed was planted with that particular video. That video aired December 2016. That's how long ago this got started. John talks about the idea, the thought, I should say one of the thoughts, of how this came about for him. And of course, one of the thoughts is that, you know, some folks, you know, needed a soap that didn't have any scent added to it, because it would, you know, break people out, irritate the skin because of the skin sensitivity. And that was one of the thoughts for the unscented soap. And another one of the reasons was, and he explains it, it's the video, you really need to watch it in its entirety in order to make sure that you understand what he was trying to say. He's disabled the comments on it now because it is a kind of a warm topic for some folks. I took it in a positive way because at the time I was still fairly new to wet shaving, and to accumulate, you know, the words a matching soap and aftershave, you know, the set, it could be, you know, especially if you're on a tight budget, it's, you know, it's kind of tough to do to always pick up the matching set, and perhaps a unscented soap that way you can, you know, buy the aftershave that you like, the scent that you like, spend your money on the aftershave, in other words, and just use an unscented soap, and that way you get the aftershave and whatnot, and you're still able to, you know, do what you're wanting to do, just spending at a smaller dollar amount. And because, you know, he goes on and, you know, mentions that, you know, some of the soaps that he buys, he doesn't particularly care for the scent, but he bought it because of the artwork, the label, in other words. And for him, that's one of those things that he appreciates, is the artwork on the label for the soap. For me, I was looking at it from not only from a budget standpoint, but also because not only maybe you have a small budget, but the area you got to put all this stuff in is also small. And so using an unscented soap would be a way to go. That way you have more room for your aftershaves and for your hardware. That was the direction I was looking at it. I was not looking at it in a, I guess you might say, a negative way. I didn't take it that way, but a number of folks did. Now, we'll say, make sure I get past that point right there. I do miss the scented soap. If I remember right, I started doing this around the 13th of April We're past the 13th of May, and yeah, I miss the scented soap. I really do. But it is something I feel like I could do if I needed to, or if I wanted to. It's just one of those things I thought I would give it a try. Like I said, the seed was planted way back then when he rolled out that video, ordered the soap from him. You know, the idea was to try an unscented soap and just to, see if I like it and what my thoughts were about it. Then the more, as time went on, and here we are in 2020, I decided I would go ahead and give it a try to shave with more or less unscented soap, and to see how I did with it. See if it just really, bothered me that I wasn't using any scented soap. And it's not that it bothers me, it's just I do miss it. I've gotten to the point now where I've used it long enough that it doesn't, I still miss the scented soap, but it's not near as, I guess you might say, it's not up here at the front of my mind anymore. It's more at the back. So it is these, in time you will get used to not having the scented soap. And then of course then the idea that you would only have maybe, depending on how many soap bases you'd like, in other words how many unscented ones you like, you may have 4 or 5 different bases in your soap, so that could switch things up for you in a way of in other words not letting your shave get stale with the soap side of things with different soap bases. It's just a thought, in other words, that was thrown out there. And especially for those that, have to use the unscented soap, and the aftershaves they use are unscented because of the way their skin is. At least it gave them an option, something they could use. And I can understand that. And especially, like I say, if you're going down the avenue of, you've got, not a whole lot of room to put all this stuff. An unscented soap is not such a bad thing if it bothered you to, in other words, not having a matching aftershave with the soap. For me, it doesn't bother me. I refer to it as an easy way to set up your shave if you always got your matching aftershave. But from time to time, it's just me. I want to use that particular soap and I want to use that particular aftershave. And it's not that both of them are matching or even come remotely close. It's just what I feel like using that day. So for me, it's not that big of a deal. But for some folks, in other words, having the scents working together or matching is a big deal to them. For me, it's not so much. But it is kind of nice to have the setup if you can get it. I mean, to have it matching. And for me, sometimes, trying to figure out, will this aftershave work well with this particular scent? The two scents work together. With my nose, sometimes I can't tell. The kind of reason why it doesn't really matter sometimes. I just mix and match whatever. But not everybody has my nose. A part-time worker doesn't work very well or not at all. So, I understand, people's got some pretty sensitive noses and they prefer to have the matching aftershave. And so, and of course then there's the artwork, which I understand where he's coming from because I do appreciate the artwork. Sometimes that is the reason why I bought it, was because of the artwork. Don't know if the scent I'm going to like it or not, have no idea. But I like the artwork and I like the artist, and so I get it because basically the artwork. I guess you might say marketing does come into play. John, I don't think I mentioned it. Jonathan's video is only about 16 minutes long. It's not a real long one. So in other words, if you watch it in its entirety to understand where it's coming from and the reasoning in behind it. But like I say, I know it rubs some people the wrong way. By the way, this blade is working out pretty well. I shaved with it yesterday. This is second use on it. It does pretty well. This is a pretty nice setup. I don't know. I'll have to use them in a DE to see how they work. But in other words, I'm considering getting a 100 pack. These seem to work pretty well. I'm under the impression, I haven't seen these before until, it was a while back when I picked these up, just now getting around to giving them a try. Like I said, they're platinum. I think it says Platinum Plus on the blade. In other words, on the blade, and what it says on the label is slightly different, but it's a platinum blade that is made in Turkey, the way I understand it. And I got a link down below. And that's one thing about the website where I ordered these blades from. They do a pretty good job of telling you what the name of the company is that makes it and where they're made at and all that sort of thing. In other words, if it's what the coating happens to be, if there is any. As much information as they can offer about the blade, they'll go ahead and offer it up, which is something I appreciate. A little information about the blade to me goes a long ways, because sometimes, you know, just a straight up stainless steel blade, not always, but a number of times it doesn't work very well for me. Once again, not always, but a lot of times if it's Teflon coated, those blades have a tendency to work well for me. And this one here being a platinum, and platinums are, how can you say, hit miss with me. Some platinums work really well, some of them not so much. So it's the kind of edge as opposed to the coating, so you got to keep that in mind. Go ahead and get started with the witch hazel. I'm going to put a link down below because I think this is something very well worth mentioning. And it's the impact that a channel can have on folks in the wet shaving community. Even though this channel might be small in number of subscribers, but will have such an impact that will, you know, it's long lasting. And just like, you know, Jonathan's video, that dated back to 2016. Here we are in 2020, and now I'm doing the shave, you know, over a number of shaves over an extended period of time, and just using unscented soap. At least per my nose, it's unscented. And EC Shaves, the little guy, he's just awesome. I'll put a link down below because I understand, you know, maybe you haven't seen it. You ought to watch it. This particular video, as well as the rest of them that he's got, they're just awesome. He's quite a character. I enjoy watching him. He helps remind you why sometimes, you know, you do the things you do. Here's this is the only booster aftershave I have, is the Oriental Spice. I do like this one. It's inexpensive in my opinion, considering there's 14 ounces here. Like I said, I got a link down below. I think it runs, is it $12? I can't remember right off the top of my head. It's inexpensive in my opinion. It feels good on my skin. Sometimes it depends on your shave on how much stinging you might have with an alcohol-based aftershave, but for me, it goes on smooth. Every time I've used it, I've never had that wholesale stinging. Not that I do much anymore. When I first started, boy howdy, yeah, talking about lighting your face up. Technique, in other words, comes into play. But No stinging. Even on the Allen Block, I just had little spots here and there, which is kind of typical with the shave vet, especially down on my neck. I'll usually have a spot or two. But, we're talking about very small spots, not huge areas. And this, anyhow, it's I guess you might say like a barbershop type aftershave that you might see in a barbershop. And it does come from Canada, so the Canadians might be more familiar with this particular aftershave. But for me, I like this scent. To me, it works well. I hope everybody's doing well. It's been kind of tough times, and I've been working at home, what, March? Yeah, since March. Been working from home for a while, and the company's been talking about what it's going to take to get us back in the office, to work it in slowly to make sure that they got everything in place for us, and because our workforce where I'm at is how can you say dynamic, in that it covers a whole range of ages. Yes, and I'm getting to be one of the older ones. But at any rate, some point in time we know they're going to have us come back in. Hope everybody's doing well. Stay healthy and stay safe. Smooth shaves to you.